The minimum wage in the United States of America. So we're gonna this down to an overview where we're gonna show the purpose of our paper, first of all, and why we pursued it, a brief overview of it, and I'm gonna share one of the primary sources that we use to get our information, while my colleague Ryan Azzi will be sharing source two. He will conclude on our argument and then talk about what makes the paper special and some of the limitations. So first and foremost, I want to show you the state minimum wages, which are the minimum wages dictated by each state government, as opposed to the federal minimum wage, which is the one dictated by the federal government, so like the central government of America. And it's currently at $7.25. And there are talks to it being raised back to $15 above, so almost basically doubling it. And as you can see, there are a lot of states who have it set at levels already above the 7.25 threshold. So states like California have it at 13, Maine has it at 12, while Massachusetts has it at 12.75. So the federal minimum wage, again, as I said, is the minimum wage basically that's permitted by the federal government. And there's a lot of like misinformation about a topic that's discussed so heavily in public policy, on the news, in politics, everything like that. So our paper basically seeks to analyze the minimum wage from its introduction, like history, to the debates now where we stand against or with the $15 mark. It's been a staple of public policy ever since it was introduced back in the 1930s, and it remains very like relevant today. So this topic is very vital because it dictates the wages of over 30 million American workers, and it impacts many more of those who earn close to it. So when the wage is going to be like $15, people earning 16 will also be impacted indirectly due to like budget changes, due to business changes, due to unemployment, due to a lot of things. So our paper basically starts off with a study done by UC Berkeley, a labor research center over there, and it talks about some of the pros of raising the minimum wage. But contrary to that study, everything isn't all rosy. Unemployment goes up, low earners get fired or replaced by automation, and jobs are destroyed when the minimum wage is raised. Add to that the fact that most earners are actually tertiary or secondary earners, mostly tertiary, which means that they're the third earner of their household or their family. So they're mostly kids like or adults, young adults, who are working like a part-time job or working at a diner while studying in university or working at like a cashier while doing something else, just to earn a little bit of side income on the side and to have some bit of pocket money. So by raising this minimum wage as the Biden administration has proposed in the Raise the Wage Act, a lot of these people will actually end up losing their jobs and their pocket money streams and their like side income streams. One of the sources that we used was actually the Congressional Budgetary Office. So this source is completely nonpartisan. It's free from the shackles of petty politics. So the bickerings of the blue team, which are the Democrats, and the red team, which are the Republicans. And it's managed by experts who provide like scientific and evidence, experts who are economists, experts who are very well versed in the field of public policy and the labor market. And they have the numerical evidence, the statistics, and the analysis to back it up. And I'll move it over to Ryan now.
Well, hi, didn't see you there. I'm Ryan Azzi, co-author of this paper, and I will be presenting the second part of this presentation. Now, this source is by the National Academy of Sciences. They studied the impact of COVID-19 on small businesses. The National Academy of Sciences received huge funding, which allowed them to survey over 5,800 small businesses, and their findings were quite alarming. They have a large sample of accurate information, and what they found was that mass layoffs and closures had already happened due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And since small businesses are more fragile when compared to large businesses like McDonald's and Burger King, they are less likely to be able to absorb the financial impacts that COVID-19 has had. And with more effects coming, the minimum wage increase is probably not the best idea, because if many businesses had to close already, who knows what a minimum wage increase could do. Now, the uniqueness of our paper was that we provided a look into two greatly differing opinions, contrasting between the positives and negatives of the wage increase. We also used a completely new mix of sources that have never been compiled in the same way together before. And it comes at a time of great concern because Biden used the topic as an election strategy. Now, one of the limitations we had was that there was limited long-term real-world examples because few states have a history of such a drastic wage increase. And time constraints was a big limitation because we had very limited time in order to work on the topic. Now, as a conclusion, the states could individually see whether a boost would help their economy or not and act accordingly. But the massive cons like inflation and greatly increased unemployment, at least in our eyes, outweigh the pros. And in our opinion, raising the federal minimum wage right now is not a good idea. But perhaps at a different time when the economy in the world was more stable, there would have been a different answer. Now, lastly, I just wanted to thank you for listening and say that it has been a great pleasure for Aaron and I expanding our knowledge on this topic. And thank you for listening. Have a great day and hope you're well.